Moving to Collin County, what you must know about these property taxes.
You found your dream home in Collin County, but then that property tax estimate hits and it's way higher than you expected. A lot of people assume that because Texas has no state income tax, that the taxes are lower across the board. That is not necessarily the case, especially in Collin County.
And if you don't understand how exemptions, school districts, and county lines can affect your tax bill, you might be in for a scare. This video breaks down the exact tax details so that you know what to expect, so there's no hidden secrets in the future.
But before we get started, I'm Holly Haven.
And I'm Andy Haven.
And we are the Haven Home Team. We are your North Texas real estate team to help you with all things real estate related. We want you to hear these next tips so that you fully understand the North Texas market and how taxes will relate to your overall cost. But do not leave before you get that final bonus tip because it's a game changer.
The first thing you need to know is that although Texas doesn't have state income tax, that does mean that our property taxes make up for it.
Yeah, there has to be a tax base in order to pay for schools and roads and infrastructure, all of those things that we all need.
Yeah, it's something that it's not happy. We don't love paying these bills, but it is something that is required, and our city officials and government are trying to decrease these to help everybody. But unfortunately, in our area, we just cannot keep up with the infrastructure. So on top of this, you do also usually have a MUD or a PID in addition to your base property tax. The property tax base is generally 2.2 to 2.9%. Most of these do include a MUD or a PID, and generally, if you want anything lower than that, you have to go to county lines and not city lines.
Yeah, so to do that quick math for you guys, if you buy a $500,000 home, you're looking at property taxes of about $10,000 to $12,000 per year. So you definitely need to have that in your total monthly payment estimate.
And something I wanted to go off of here as well, whenever you're purchasing a home, please talk to your lender about how you can go ahead and prepay some of these taxes and put it in your escrow account. I know it's more money up front, but it's something that a lot of people forget to save for over the year. And when their property tax bill comes out, they're like, oh my God, I have to pay $8,000 out of pocket. I don't have $8,000 in my pocket. So something to take into consideration if you are not opening an escrow account, please, please, please save for these taxes, and also take into consideration that a MUD is included in your tax rate, but a PID is not. So a PID will never be included, and it's something you always have to save outside.
Your tax bill depends on the appraised value of your property, which can change every single year. The Collin County Appraisal District will send you a notice every spring.
Yeah.
And tell you what they think your home is worth.
Yes, and it generally will go up every single year. This is something that we'll talk about later in the video, but how you can make sure that it goes up the least amount every single year and what that looks like. But your property taxes will increase every single year, and your property insurance will likely increase every single year, so that payment will continue to increase.
We do recommend that you protest this appraisal amount every year if it is even remotely possible, because even the smallest reduction this year can help you for the following year, because they are not going to go back and retroactive anything. So what we normally do is we have our past clients, they reach out to us almost every year and say, hey, will you run some quick comps on my property? Let me know where we land so that they can take it back to the appraisal district for a quick appeal.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if you're buying a property that the assessed value is higher than what you bought the property for, you will want to disclose that closing disclosure and let them know how much you actually paid. That is the only time that I would suggest you tell them how much you paid for the property, because that will benefit you, and you will start off at a lower amount rather than starting off at what the seller was paying. Something you need to know is that investors actually do not have a cap on these property increases, but homeowners do. So it's something you'll want to take advantage of.
Yeah, so the minute you move into your primary residence, you want to go ahead and claim your homestead exemption. You may also have 65 and older, disability, or VA disability. There's lots of different exemptions in here. Maybe you have an ag exemption, depending on the type of property. So you'll want to ensure that all of your exemptions are properly filed and in place. That way, as a homestead, they can only increase the value at a cap of 10% every year. But those investors, they do not have any protection.
Yeah, and that's something that also as an investor that you want to expect. This is something they can continue to increase your property taxes as much as they want, compared to the assessed value of your home. So you actually may have to fight a lot harder as an investor to get these numbers down and save that money, but sometimes it's just inevitable.
Yeah, this was a huge impact during the COVID years when we were seeing those large valuation increase due to the number of buyers in the market, lack of inventory in the market. So home values did jump very, very quickly for about 2 to 3 years. Our homeowners were protected with that 10% increase every year, but an investor could have seen easily a 15 to 20% increase in 1 year. That is a huge negative impact to the bottom line. So we do recommend that investors protest those taxes every single year. Even if you don't get a reduction, you're going to try to help that cash flow. So it's really important to continue that appeals process. Timelines matter. So you will need to mark your calendar. The minute that appraisal notice arrives in your mailbox, you only have about 30 days to actually submit your appeal.
Yeah, and this is something that the general timeline is May 15th, but once you get that in your mailbox, the 30 days does start. So it's something you'll want to go online, you'll want to file this protest, and you'll want to get that done as soon as possible.
Yeah, and that first step might be to just compare what they had you at last year. If it went down, that's great news, but you could still potentially appeal it to go lower depending on what is actually happening in the market. So we always recommend that our clients just reach out to us, shoot us a quick email, let us know that you're wanting to potentially appeal your taxes. We run the comms for you. We send you all of that data. You simply go online, you file your appeal, and then it starts the process.
Yeah, and this year in particular, we are likely going to see a lot more decreases than usual because we have seen home prices come down, not necessarily losing value, but people are bringing the prices down to a normal price range again. So we might be able to see some of these lower assessed values this year since we haven't in past years. You can also do an informal review first so that you don't have to go through the entire formal protest. And this is something that we always suggest for any home buyer or any homeowner because, I mean, why not take the chance?
Yeah, and it's a really simple process. It's gone almost completely online now. So you submit all of your documentation showing your reasoning for the appeal. I have clients who even go and show, maybe they've had some damage and it's lack of maintenance. They will go and show all of the things that are wrong with their house so that they can basically prove the point that we are not at the top of market value, right? This is your choice, how you want to protest, but that is definitely an option. And it's a fair case for a lot of people. We're not selling a brand new home at the highest price point with all of the upgraded finishes. Then we need to be able to compare at our actual valuation. But submitting everything online, you get a response pretty quickly, usually within just a few days. And at that point, you have the option to accept it or to request a formal review, which allows you to actually go in front of a panel at the appraisal district and present and discuss your reasonings, your findings, and kind of have that conversation with them. It's important to gather the proper evidence for the appeal. So we've talked about little bits and pieces of this throughout the video, but kind of bringing this all together, when it comes time to appeal these taxes, you are going to need to get your ducks in a row.
Yeah, and what that means is you're going to want documentation that your home really does not meet that value. If you know that you and your neighbor are the exact same price point, but they've done $50,000 in upgrades and they meet that value, but guess what? You have siding falling off of your house. You have major cracking, foundation issues, something that seriously impacts your home. This is the time you're actually going to want to document that.
Yeah, so gathering all of that data, like we mentioned, having us run comps for you, giving you the data for your neighborhood so that it is a really fair last 90 days, last 180 days. So you're looking at current market valuations and then gathering any photo evidence that you might need from, lack of maintenance or actual issues. Maybe you had some storm damage, something like that you're really dealing with or managing that could impact the current valuation of the home. You're going to want to just get all of those pieces together so that when you go to file your protest and you upload all of that online, it's all in one place and you're not having to go back and continue that appeal process with additional information time and time again. Hopefully you can get it all done in the informal hearing online. You get to click yes, we accept, and move on. But if you do have to go in front of that formal hearing in the panel, you have everything ready to go.
For our bonus tip today, we kind of just wanted to reiterate the biggest point of this video. It's that you want to file any exemption that you may apply for. If you're on 5+ acres, file for that ag exemption. If you are a veteran, file for that VA exemption. Over 65, you are a primary residence homeowner, file for all of these exemptions and try to get as many as possible because it could save you as much as $100,000 off of that assessed value.
Hey guys, we hope you found this video interesting and helpful. And if you have any questions at all about Collin County or North Texas taxes, please drop those comments below. You can always shoot us a text or an email, reach out to us on any of those social medias. But before you leave here, we want to make sure that you like and subscribe so that you don't miss any of our future videos. We drop a new video every Friday.
We'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.